We're back with our second half hour of the Screen Team right here on Today's Talk KWOC. Being brought to you by Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers, where Walmart is next door to us, Fearless Social, and Poplar Bluff Drywall. This second part of the show, we're doing kind of buddy movies. We're going to be doing The Good Burger show with Kyle a little bit later on this evening. Also going to be doing The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and one of your favorite actors, Ryan Gosling.
Ugh.
I know you love him. But this first film we're going to review is a documentary. It's called Frank and Ollie, and it's about two of the 9 old men. Are you familiar with them?
Disney
indeed. There was 9 kind of core artists who helped make Disney what it is today, especially with their animated films. You know,
Yes.
you think of movies like Snow White and Cinderella and Pinocchio and
Bambi
and Dumbo, those kind of movies. Those 9 old men had a huge hand on the animation. And
literally.
Literally. Yeah, you're right about that. And 2 of probably the most famous ones or most special ones was Frank Thompson and Ollie Johnson, I think is his last name. Now, the documentary itself is okay. It's decent. But the story about these guys, I think, is what makes this movie truly amazing.
Far outshines the cinematography of the documentary itself.
I agree with that 100%. These guys, not only were they work companions, but they've been companions for
school
buddies in college
who
at art school.
Carpooled back and forth to school, got jobs, working side by side, married and built homes side by side, and
right next to each, yeah,
for life.
Yeah, their wives were friends, you know. I mean, they'd go over and be like, "Oh, you see what I drew today?" And like, "Oh, that's great. Maybe you could do this with your work or do that." And
one of the key elements between these two guys was how they communicated. They had a commute, and during that commute, where a lot of the guys left the office, got in their car, went home, and had home life, these guys got out of the office, got in the car together, and continued their frame of thought, their processes, and their planning for the next day or wrapping up the day of. And so their work schedule continued that 30 to 60 minutes past the clock. And then they were next door if they needed to run another idea past them before they went to bed, and get up the next morning, meet at the car, and ride into work. And so by the time they got to work, they'd already worked out any issues, rewrites, redraws, anything else. And so by the time they walked in the door, they went to their different locations and they were busy. And there wasn't anybody else in the industry at that time that could put together the stuff that these two guys put together as fast as they did, even though one project could last 7 years.
Yeah.
I think it's Snow White or Bambi, which one they were referring to, but they
I
talk
forget.
about a 7-year project. And it's just amazing.
Animation itself is truly amazing. You know, when you think, okay, Sabrina, I want you to draw a facial expression, and you know what the facial expression is, what it is to smile.
You know what the emotion is.
Yeah, but you have to. It's, you know, people.
They tell the story. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so they're in storytelling mode. They've got their little what do you call them? The little images that their storyboard. So one of them is sharing a storyboard idea for just a segment of a film that they're all working on, and Disney is sitting there, and he's all kicked back and laid back in the chair, got his, you know, he's just got this look on his face, and while the guy is going through the storyboard, Disney's over there making all these faces and contorting his face, and the guy's talking, he's like, is he even paying attention to me? And in reality, Disney was listening and internalizing the challenge that the artist was actually discussing, how hard it was to take a character that is a figment of your imagination, that you're not the only person working on, and take a scene and then make that character jump off the page with 3-dimensional expression in a world that 3D didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that talking animals didn't exist, and have them carry the emotion and the weight of that scene. And these guys had to do this, and they did it by bringing in dogs and working in the room, drawing while the dog is there, and bringing a other characters, or they would act out.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. These guys were not only animators, they were actors.
Yes.
They would get up and they would, okay, I've got to figure out the scene of how Thumper is going to talk to Bambi, and
Yes.
and like how's he going to do it, and they, well, hey, they would get up and they would figure out, okay, if I'm talking to this person, how am I going to act?
Is my arm going to be forward in the back, or is it going to be forward in the front? Or am I turning to this person? And not only that, but they filmed it so they could rewatch it. They filmed it so that there was a shadow cast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they thought about everything they needed to know when they were putting that image onto paper and making it come to life. And then not only that, but they had a train of thought and I completely lost it.
Well, here, maybe you can find it. They would also take from their personal life experiences.
Yes.
With Robin Hood, for all those who like the animated film Robin Hood, the part where Prince John sucks his thumb, that was one of the animator's sons. He would do that as a little boy. So he took that from his life and put it into the cartoon. It's just
and
so,
like him rubbing his feet together. The other one's son did that.
Yeah.
He rubbed his feet together under the covers, and they just put all these little secret things in there that brought the characters to life.
And it's something that makes it more magic. That's a part my family would always say, Mom, doing the part where he sucks his thumb. Just think if they didn't take that from their life, that
how boring that character would have been.
Yeah. And or how many lives they touch with their animation.
Yes. And still do.
There was I forgot one of the guys they were interviewing said that a lot of people influenced through art or music, and they get like a limited capacity of people, but these two guys have influenced billions upon billions of people with their animation.
And you wouldn't know it by sitting in a room with them, because they were very candid in this documentary. There wasn't a whole lot of fanfare about it. It was just, they show a scene of the two guys pushing their trash to the curb. Hey, you got a lot of trash today. Yeah, you must have had a party. I just got a lot of scripts that got rejected. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they walk back, But they are the perfect pair of companions.
Yeah.
In so much of an element that their wives were companions. They were just this foursome of incredible talent and humility all at the same time. Yeah. There wasn't anything about their lives, even peek inside their home life, or they just got lucky enough to do what they loved, and didn't even know that's what they loved when they started out.
That's true.
They just knew they wanted to do advertising of some kind. Was it advertising, or was it because it wasn't? They wanted to do art, but they didn't know how they were going to take art and make a living.
Yeah.
So they always had to figure out how else they were going to make life work, but then they met up with Disney and then decided, well, let's give this a shot. I think just so funny though how they have their houses set up, and then one of them's trying to find an old drawing of some. They've got all this stuff,
They got all the old cells of the animation.
And he's digging around in all these drawers. He goes and he calls out to his wife, "Where's that drawing of such and such?" And then there you see a little sign. If you can't find it, it's probably in here. That you think she probably put that right there,
Yeah.
But so artistically minded and so scattered.
I might be exaggerating this point a little bit, but in the actual documentary, Ollie Johnson was a huge fan of trains.
Oh, yes.
So much so that he created his own
backyard
train, which Disney got a hold of that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we
should do this at the park."
Well, I guess my point is, I remember seeing another documentary about Disney about how he got into trains, and the trains idea was how he
generated
came up
the idea
of Disneyland.
Of the park. Gotcha.
So I don't know if all these were combined or not, but maybe Ollie Johnson was a catalyst into
Disney's dream of the park.
Right.
Let's make this, because he had this train that the kids and the family, everybody could hop on this little train and ride around in his backyard.
Right.
And the thought of everyone wanting to come over so they could ride the train, like you said, a catalyst to dream up a bigger way to make that happen in a bigger train. And so when you ride the train at Disneyland or Disney World, either one, you got to realize that train is that piece that put it all together.
It truly is an amazing story. The documentary itself is okay, but if you like animation, if you like Disney, if you like a good story about two guys who have been friends for a long time, it's really, really a special movie. It's called Frank and Ollie. And just another side note to you, you ever seen The Incredibles?
Uh-huh.
Those two guys make a cameo in that movie.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. They say a line where they're like, that's old school. That's definitely old school. So they make a cameo in The Incredibles.
And it's another side note, too. These guys, a lot of times, they were so conjoined in conversation with other people that other people might not have always known that they were two guys. Frank and Ollie was so consistently turned into a single unit.
Yeah. Yeah,
they even answer the phone. This is Frank and Ollie.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Oh, yeah. Well, this is Frank, or this is Ollie. But no, it was always Frank and Ollie. They were inseparable, even by name.
It's true. It's an amazing story. I had another point I was going to throw in there, but I forgot.
I'm sorry.
I was like, okay, do I get it in now?
I can't quit talking
Do
about
I get
it.
it in now? And now I forgot what it was. The movie's called Frank and Ollie. You can check it out on DVD. Coming up after the break, we're going to review The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe. It's next on KWOC.